Today I am flying on WestJet's newest transatlantic route from my local airport, Cardiff, all the way to Toronto, Canada. This route is one that I'm really excited for. I love visiting Canada, and to be able to fly from literally my local airport, it's about 2 miles from my house, is unbelievable. So now we're going to head inside. I'm going to show you Cardiff Airport, and then we'll head our way across the pond from Cardiff to Toronto. Well, Cardiff Airport really isn't the biggest, as I've just showed you. That is the entire check-in area. Cardiff is not a massive airport, doesn't fly to a ton of destinations, so for it to have got this transatlantic route is unbelievable. I don't have anything to check in though, and I've checked in online, so I can head straight through. Well, there we go. What would take a while in other airports takes 2 minutes here in Cardiff. Security all done, straight through. Literally no one waiting there. Might fill up a little bit as we get closer to the flight, but probably not. It's about 2 hours until I fly now, and the airport's lovely and calm. I'm gonna go find somewhere to sit, talk to you a little bit about the flight, and yeah, that's about it. As you can see, the new route is fairly prominent in the airport. It's quite a big coup for Cardiff, really. Before we do anything else, let me just show you around the airport a little bit. You've got a classic bar and kitchen. There's a Costa coffee. And if we go through here, there's a big seating area and a WH Smith's. And we've even got a lounge. It really is so nice to be able to sit in a quiet and peaceful airport. Do you know how rare this is? Like, it's unbelievable. If I ever fly transatlantic, it's almost always from London, just because it's usually cheaper. But this actually was much cheaper than going to London, especially if you have to factor in all of the travel that I would have to do from here to London. Yeah, absolute no-brainer. Before we get into the flight itself, let me just talk to you a little bit about the route today. The flight operates 4 times a week in each direction, and it leaves Cardiff on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and today, Saturdays, which is pretty good. The flight times are, in my opinion, very nice. So the flight leaves Cardiff here at 11:30, arriving into Toronto around 3:30, and on the reverse journey leaves Toronto at around 10:30, arriving into Cardiff at around 10:30. There seems to be a little bit of confusion online around baggage for this flight, because on WestJet's website they do say that if you book in an ultra basic fare, which is where you get the cheapest prices, you do not get a full-size cabin bag. That's wrong. You only don't get a full-size cabin bag on domestic flights or flights between Canada and the US. Any transatlantic route with WestJet, you do get a cabin bag and a personal bag. So I'll show you what I'm bringing with me now. So, cabin bag, personal bag. That's just got my laptop and editing stuff in there, basically. And that's got my clothes. Well, after a little bit of hanging around, we've got a gate number. Time to head over and get on our WestJet flight all the way transatlantic. Down at the gate, nice and early. We've actually got an hour until we're supposed to be taking off, so hopefully we might even get underway a little bit early, potentially. No boarding yet, but I'm sure we'll head on over soon. I can see the plane, but I can't get there because the windows are in the priority section and I'm not allowed. So yeah, but I think I will be able to get some shots as we're boarding, hopefully. Okay, here we go. Time for boarding on our flight from Cardiff to Toronto. And this is today's plane, a Boeing 737 MAX 8, the Spirit of Canada. And it's going to take us all the way across the Atlantic from Cardiff Airport to Toronto Pearson, a total of 5,500 kilometres. WestJet doesn't offer a business or first class, but they do have these premium seats, which, if I'm honest, look very, very nice. So, welcome on board. Let me just do a quick seat tour. Quite nice, like leathery seats. There's also these blankets on every seat, which is much more useful for the overnight flight from Toronto to Cardiff. There's seat pockets, even if mine is a little damaged, as well as tray tables, which will be helpful later for our meal service. One thing that a lot of people talk about is plugs on these long-haul flights, and this one comes with a really good one. It's universal, which is really handy. And another thing is legroom. I'm not the tallest. Legroom was perfectly fine for me. If you're particularly tall, then maybe an exit row is something you need to look for. I think I've won the seat lottery here. I think I've got a completely free row. That's brilliant. It's really helpful for me filming because sometimes when people are around, it gets a little bit awkward.
Bestowed for taxi, takeoff, landing, and in-flight turbulence. Les bagages de cabine doivent être rangés durant la circulation au sol.
Here we go. Next step, Toronto, Canada. As you may have noticed from the seat tour, WestJet don't have any entertainment screens. They combat this with free Wi-Fi. I couldn't get it working on my phone, but I did perfectly fine on my Mac, so I think it might have a VPN issue. Also, the power worked perfectly fine on my phone and charging up my camera, although I did have to use the adapter because my plug was slightly damaged. This is the last land we're going to see before Canada. So the options were meat or vegetarian, and the vegetarian option pushed me pretty close today actually. The vegetarian option was a chickpea masala, or the meat option was a cottage pie. Decided to go for that in the end. Chickpea masala sounds tasty, but not quite. Anyway, this is what you get. You get a little salad as well as some actual vinaigrette, which is a nice touch. A roll and butter, and then the meal as well as a little chocolate bar. Vinaigrette applied, roll buttered, let's tuck in. It's really nice to have an actual crunchy salad on a plane that's also got a bit of vinaigrette with it. Very tasty. I'll tuck into the main meal in a second once I finish this appetizer stuff. There was obviously also a drink service along with the meal, but that was running a little bit slower just because obviously it takes a little bit longer to pour out a drink than deliver a meal. And now time for the main event, the cottage pie. I also quite like that they give you salt and pepper, that you can actually season your food yourself. Okay, so let's give this a try. It's pretty good. The mince is like almost like Tex-Mex style. It's very tasty. Let me just show you quickly. Well, that went down a treat. Last but not least, this Lily O'Brien's chocolate bar. I don't think any of you really need me to explain what chocolate is, so I'm just going to eat that off camera. It was actually quite fun to be able to use the Wi-Fi to track my flight in real time on Flight Radar. Okay, now time for something that some people love, some people hate. A little bathroom tour. It is just kind of a standard bathroom, a little sink, some usual soaps and stuff, a few extra mirrors, some nicely stocked with tissues and stuff. Also a baby changing table which has been left down and I will prop up before going for my wee. It is quite tight in here though, I will warn you. My camera is on 0.5 zoom and yeah, not very much space. We are about to cross over into Canada for the first time on this flight. That is the very edge of the Labrador coast you can see below me, and you can even see an iceberg or two. Even though we are now over Canada, I still have 2 hours and 41 minutes left of the flight apparently. And we're due to land early. But there we go, we have just passed over Black Bear Bay and Black Tickle. Well, this flight is absolutely racing by. We're down to just 1 hour 50 minutes left until landing in Toronto. Sadly, no real Canadian scenery to bring you. It's very cloudy. We've just had another little trolley service, this time with a little snack, which was some shortbread cookies and another drink. So, as we've got cookies, I opted for a tea. Not bad. Fairly nice to get something like a second time round. Sadly, still no scenery, still very cloudy. If you can use your imagination, under those clouds should be the St. Lawrence River. Somehow there is less than an hour to go now on this flight. We have done over 5,000 kilometres and there's only about 600 left. One other thing that I wanted to mention is something people have concerns about when flying long haul on a narrow body aircraft, and that is turbulence. We've had 2 periods of turbulence, but neither have been bad. There was one fairly early on, maybe about 45 minutes in, just as we were going over Ireland, and we're sort of still in one now, but not really. The seatbelt signs are still on. There's an occasional wobble, but it's nothing severe. Unless you have like a real phobia of flying, then it's fine. There's no real issues. And realistically, quite a lot of transatlantic routes now are on narrow body aircrafts. You might as well get used to it. Welcome to Toronto Pearson Airport. That is the flight done. We landed at 24 minutes past 2 local time, so that is a flight time of 7 hours and 29 minutes. Not too bad all in all, considering it said it would take 8 hours 10. My only disappointment is it took half an hour to deplane the plane. Taxiing took a while, and then it was just slow to disembark. So all in all, not too bad. Arrived here in a very, very nice time. Might as well keep the camera rolling. I'll show you some airport stuff, and I'll show you how to get into the city as well, and then we'll finish it up there. I think might be a bit nicer than just in a corridor of the airport. Right, all through, done all the formalities. God, that seemed to take longer than it needed to. Took about 40 minutes in the end. It's a busy airport, I'll give it that, but God, what a pain. I felt as long as the flight. Anyway, enough of me moaning unnecessarily. Time to find the train and we'll head to downtown. So the first thing to do is head from Terminal 3 that I'm in now to Terminal 1. And then from there, I can go into the city. But I don't entirely know where I'm going. I don't think I should be going outside. I was right to follow my instincts. Turns out it was upstairs. So I'm now at the sort of inter-terminal train station, I suppose. Should only be a couple of minutes over to Terminal 1 and then into downtown. Here we go, it's very quick until the train, so but apparently I can tap my card. Probably for the best that I rushed for this train. They're every half an hour, but it does only take half an hour into the city, which is not too bad, really. Fare costs, I think, about $11, which is pretty reasonable, really, for a train from the airport into the city. I paid a lot more than that. But yeah, should be there soon, and then the journey will be over. It's not very scenic by here, though. Terrible time to point the camera to the window. Well, there we go, just like that. Welcome to Toronto, specifically welcome to Union Station. Turns out I saved myself a little bit of money by tapping my card there. It's 25% off if you pay with your card, which means it only cost me $9 and not $11.75. And this is Toronto Union Station. Anyone who's watched the channel for a while will be familiar with this station. This station is where I took the train from Toronto to Vancouver in economy class. My first real super popular video. Yeah, it's a hell of a place. And I'm back here tomorrow to film another video. I won't tell you where we're going yet. That will be next week's video for you. So maybe stick around and give that a watch. Anyway, let's head outside. It's a lovely day here in Toronto, and we might as well finish it up with a little bit of a view. Okay, so welcome to Toronto, the final destination for today's video that started in my hometown airport of Cardiff. It was a really fun one for me. I've wanted to take this route as soon as they announced it, and I'm so glad that I have actually managed it. This is the start of a real North American series, some Canadian stuff, some American stuff as well. Never filmed a video in America properly, so really looking forward to that as well. Not really much else to say apart from discussing the price. The price was very reasonable. It was less than £300 return for my airfare from Cardiff to Toronto and back. I think that's a ridiculously good deal. Well, that's enough for me to say now. I'm gonna head off. I'm gonna find where I'm staying tonight, and that's about it. I need to edit this video. It needs to go up on Monday, and I'm fairly tired, so we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, which will be right back here tomorrow morning.